My thoughts are with her.
Werther Elote is basically a love story of a young man called Werther, played by Nathan Keepers, for this woman called Lotte, played by Christina Baldwin. Maybe try to see if we can do it so we don't step on the grass.
I try to care for each character I do and portray them honestly and truthfully. That doesn't mean ultra-realistic, and in a way it does mean very realistic because sometimes you sing when you're at home in your own life, and sometimes something you do ends up looking like dance, and all of those elements can tell a story and make you believe someone.
Distance is like the future, our feelings obscured as our vision, a desire to surrender our being. Surrender, surrender, surrender.
I've worked with Christina forever. That means more than 10 years. She is extremely talented, versatile, someone that inspires me.
For heaven's sake, why do you get so agitated?
I've been very lucky in my 30 years of theater here in Minneapolis to work with extraordinarily talented artists. And of the hundreds I've worked with, she's one of the few who is precious to me, very important.
I knew you long before everyone thought you were cool.
I was born into a family of 8 children, 6 older brothers, and then my sister and I are the youngest end. And my parents were very adamant that we took voice lessons and music lessons, and I grew up going to the Guthrie and going to see Minnesota Orchestra and SBCO, and we would see the artists and see the art being done as a normal part of our day and a necessary part of our week. And we would understand that it wasn't such a far-fetched notion to have a life in the arts. I saw at Jeune Lune, when they were at where the Illusion Theater is currently in downtown Minneapolis, I saw The Bourgeois Gentleman, and I still remember elements of the show. I remember how it looked, and it was burned into my brain. And later we were at a restaurant and we ran into one of the actresses from the performance. And I just was so amazed that she was sitting at a restaurant eating a cup of soup. I just thought, I want to eat a cup of soup and be an actor. So, gosh darn it, I am. So
She is funny as I don't think I've known somebody who can be that funny.
Do you dance?
I confess I prize it above all other amusements. Who has 2 thumbs and likes dancing? This guy! No?
She's very optimistic, and she brings a spirit in the room. Okay, so
no matter who it is, no matter what character it is, I always, I don't think there's a good word for it, but playful, I think, would be the one word.
The character Christina plays in the show is not particularly funny, although we found ways that at times she can be, just so that we can breathe. We can understand that she's human.
If it's a very serious character, too, they still will have a playful element to them, and they still have certain joys or something that even their former self would have found funny.
No, don't play with the cat like that. That's not good. No, that's the cat's. That is the cat's business.
We all come with our worries, and she just comes in and she has like this spirit of let's have fun.
On the whole, a source of indescribable happiness.
No matter what we do, no matter even if the subject is very dark, which is great, it's fantastic to work on a tragedy and have fun doing it.
This girl was different, boys. How can you blame me? Hands on her hips and her dresses and lipstick. No one
I would say early on, one pivotal role was my first Shakespeare role at the old Guthrie Theater. I was the courtesan in Comedy of Errors. I saw what it meant to be a working actor, acting along the side of Michelle O'Neill and Sally Wingert and Nathan Keepers. And I think that was just when I was trying to blend the lines of opera and theater. Here I was doing Shakespeare and just scared out of my mind. But having so much fun and realizing how much Shakespeare has in common with music. You know, you have all this training as an actor to project and have a certain sound or tone to your voice to be better heard in a large auditorium. And if you still aren't invested in that word, then sure, they may hear you at the back of the theater, but they're not going to understand you. So it's down to believability and trying to be honest.
Give myself permission to do what I was meant to do, permission to be who I was meant to be. I'm taking my life back, I'm taking it back.
My sister is Jennifer Baldwin Peden, and she is an amazing singer and actor. I respect her work as an artist. We worked for many years at Jeune Lune, also around town. I began working with Dominique Strand at Theatre de la Jeune Lune. I had seen him and been a part of the audience at Jeune Lune for a long time. I auditioned for Magic Flute.
I just thought she was fantastic.
It was a life-changing experience without trying to sound trite. It changed the course of my life. I found a home at Jeune Lune that spoke to all of my own interests as a performer, singing and acting. And when Jeune Lune closed and Steve Epp and Dominique started up the moving company, I started working with them. My first show with them was Come Hell and High Water. I helped with finding some music there, and I understand and really appreciate Dominique's aesthetic. It makes sense to me. And when he discusses a piece, I can sometimes almost hear the song that would fit.
How to describe her voice? Well, she's a mezzo. My favorite part is she has incredible lows. Now, that's me. I'm not a musical expert. I also think that, I don't know if it's particularly her voice, but her choice of how to use her instrument is very intelligent. It's always based on a profound sentiment. It's not about how showy you can be. She's very true, very honest.
The different genres in which I work, the opera, musical theater, and theater, you have to have a great respect for the different styles and the skill level at which you have to perform. There's a lot of voice lessons that I've paid for over the years to cultivate a certain operatic sound, and yet that sound will not be appropriate for musical theater. I think my instrumental training has informed me as a performer, not only as a singer, but also as an actor. All of my efforts spent at the piano or playing the flute, all of that informed me to then understand when I work with an instrumentalist and we're both telling the same story, hear what their instrument, their voice is saying, because that is going to directly affect how you tell your story. And likewise, when you're doing a show, there's so many very important cogs in the whole machine, and I'm just one of those cogs.
You ain't so thick as all that, now are you?
Yes. No, I ain't.
All performers are unique, but some are more unique than others, and she's one of them. She can act, she can sing, she's done musical comedy, she's done opera, she's done serious plays, so obviously her range is very wide. But it's not so much how wide her range is, it's how deep it is.
And yes,
She's not afraid to go places that very few performers dare to go to.
Who done this to you? And how'd he get away?
what fool are you talking, boy? Look at me. You ain't never done looked at me, have you? Never right.
We're good partners on the stage because we know the risks we want to take, and we know that we can trust one another to make sure that we land in a place that we feel comfortable with.
You can't hold her, no, you can't hold her down.
I think as a lot of people do as they mature, you just want to create something good. Sometimes I feel there's a lot of consumption in our world now, where we're consuming and feeding ourselves on what we can look at online, or we kind of fill up our time. And sometimes I can feel that way if, I'm going from audition to audition, and if you don't stop and think, okay, wait, no, what do I want to do? What is it I want to say? What is there out there to say? And I think that's what's led me to the collaboration at Moving Company, because they do get to express an opinion as to what is put out there in the world. Because I think you are responsible for what you put out there, and what stories will have been told that can help people just understand each other more. That's all. That's all it is.
You can't hold her down.
Minnesota Original is made possible by the State Arts and Cultural Heritage Fund and the citizens of Minnesota.